in Canada, the incidences of scurvy are on the rise because of a lack of vitamin C, because people aren't buying fresh produce that contain vitamin C. This is the bleakest, most grim, dystopian news. Come on. Like, have we not moved on from, I'm sorry, scurvy? Where are we, a filthy ship?
Modern day Canada in 2024 is the equivalent of being on a ship for months at sea. And you're just like, are we going to get off this thing? Welcome back to Overstimulated. Today we're getting overstimulated with Jackie Pirico. Welcome, Jackie.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for being here.
This is great.
You are a multifaceted, multi-talented kind of gal.
Oh my goodness.
You live a very humble, traditional life, you know?
I am. I'm a trad. Some say I'm a trad wife to the showbiz industry.
You're like, I am wearing my long skirts, benevolently helping any opportunity I can. On top of being a fabulous stand-up comedian, Juno nominated comedian, by the way, which is a real thing, which is a real award.
Yeah, they do that.
Americans,
they do that.
They're real.
You have to pay to submit your album, but they do recognize you with a nomination.
Do you actually have to pay?
I think it's like, there is a fee to submit, but I think that anyone, even like recording artists, musicians, they have to pay. I think everyone has to pay to submit.
That's crazy that like we're so thirsty as Canadians. Yes. We're just like, please, will you watch it?
Take my
we'll
money
pay you for your time.
Just to listen to a bit of it.
But anyways, Jackie is an incredibly talented comedian. And on top of that, she's also starred in a couple of CTV comedy shows, such as Children Ruin Everything. She's also a co-host on Farming for Love.
Yes, the co-host on the Farming for Love after show, which is called After Harvest, which is kind of like a barnacle sort of parasite production that clings on to the main reality show. So it's just like the after show that we discuss. We gossip about the reality show and the contestants and dissect it and everything.
I was watching
so fun.
some of it this morning in preparation for you being here today. And I was just like, it's so crazy, the mind of a farmer.
Yes.
I think that's beautiful. I think people should run studies on that, actually.
Yeah. And know what I think is also considerable about a farmer? Not only the mind, but the wallet. I think they are doing very well. And if ever I find myself in the dating pool again, get me on there as a contestant.
Get you into farming.
Yeah, because I love animals. I love the outdoors.
Yeah.
And I love that income that the farms are, those big
That's true.
production
It's reliable.
farms are
they got that quota.
Yeah.
Also, like, I feel like you can't, like, think about it. Like, you're getting up early. All right. That's a man with discipline.
Yes.
Okay. That's a man who's probably in okay physical shape. You know, if you're like moving shit around. He's not afraid of a little dirt.
Yeah.
Of a little.
I love a dirty guy.
He's ready to get in there.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I like blue collar.
Yeah, you like blue collar.
I do.
Ooh.
Like, I love, like, if I see a guy in like paint stained like jeans, I'm like, okay.
Where are you going?
Yeah, I don't know. And I like trades. I don't know. I just should say this. I was conceived and born in Oshawa, Ontario.
Oh, that explains.
This may have it's in my blood.
She's just ready for it. Okay, well, I want to get into all that with you. As well as being an Oshawan. Oshwagian?
I actually couldn't say because I only lived there till I was like 3.
Oh, that was a good time to move.
Yeah.
You had your golden years there.
Got it while I could.
Got your first steps and walked right out of there. She's like, I'm gone. But on top of all of Jackie's accomplishments, you're also a pet whisperer.
Some would say yes.
Yeah, I would definitely say.
Yeah.
You do the most iconic impressions of cats.
Oh, thank you.
Of basically any animal roaming the streets of Toronto.
I do. I am a pet whisperer. It's up for debate if the pets like me whispering to them or not. But I am animal crazy, and I walk a lot. I get a lot of steps every day.
That's how she stays beautiful,
I don't have my
everybody.
license. That's how I also don't have my license. But it also is part of my beauty regime, but I don't have my license. And I walk a lot. So yeah, I'm always visiting like outdoor cats and commenting on people's dogs. They don't always like that.
Do you see the same roundup of animals?
I do have some regulars. Yeah.
Some regular voice. Can you give us an example? I've got a couple of TikTok videos of some adorable animals, and I would love for you to give us like what kind of voice do you think these guys would have?
Okay. Now look, the voices are not always quite varied. You may hear the same voice for a couple of pets.
If somebody just hears this clip of the voices that speak to me are a little, they're not varied.
She medicated.
Well, we'll get into that later. You know, like that's for the people to decide. Yes. Okay, what about this cute little guy?
Oh my goodness, Lon. Oh, leggy legs.
So leggy.
So what would I think he sounds like?
Yeah, what does he sound like? What's he
he
saying?
looks a bit
Grumpy. He's grumpy. And he's looking for his mom.
he's quite built. He's kind of ripped. Oh, is that the baby? Oh, is that the same guy?
It's a ripped baby. Yeah. It's a ripped baby giraffe.
I guess he would just be like,
I feel like he'd be like,
Where's my mom?
he'd be like, get me out of here. I'm stuck in the suburbs of wherever this place is.
Yeah.
I'm meant to be in this area.
he's like,
I thought I was tall, but the fence is so tall.
something like that.
I love it. Okay, let's do another. What about this little guy?
Oh my God. Well, see, it's always the same voice.
Oh my
But he'd be like,
Need more. I need more. Taking more.
and it's like easy now. Like you're gonna choke. You don't need all of that.
Need it for my family.
I've never seen you with anyone in my life. Something like that.
He's like, I'm taking. It's like when you order 2 extra large pizzas and you're like,
yes.
there's gonna be a party here
got a
later.
crazy party
actually.
going on in
Oh my
there.
God, I love that.
That actually makes me really nervous when rodents, chipmunks, rats, mice, squirrels do this because I have like a choking fear. And I'm just like, is this necessary?
Yeah.
Okay, you can come back later for more. This is overkill. Look at that.
It's actually giving eating disorder. Like slow down a little bit.
Yeah,
you know,
you have
like
a,
you will eat again.
damaged relationship with food.
Yeah. Let's talk about your mother first. Let's
Yeah.
figure that out.
Oh,
She liked to
sorry.
put a lot of nuts in her face
Those
too.
are hazelnuts. Maybe he has a point because those are expensive. that is actually, yeah, I see it.
It is. That's so hilarious. No, that's so silly. But speaking of groceries and things being expensive,
Yes.
including hazelnuts,
Yes.
you were mentioning before we started podcasting that apparently people are getting scurvy because grocery prices are so expensive.
I have heard this. Was it today or yesterday that I heard this? That, yeah, in Canada, the incidences of scurvy are on the rise because of a lack of vitamin C because people aren't buying fresh produce that contain vitamin C. This is the bleakest, most grim, dystopian news. Come on, like have we not moved on from, I'm sorry, scurvy? Where are we, a filthy ship?
Yeah.
It's so sad.
It's Canada, modern day Canada in 2024 is the
Yes.
equivalent of being on a ship for months at sea. And you're just like, are we going to get off this thing?
Yes. Rats
I had
everywhere.
to leave. Yeah, there's rats eating at your ankles. You're like, I had to leave my whole family
Yes.
just to explore this maybe new life.
Yes.
Also, the other thing that I realized about North America is I think like the first settlers in North America, like they had to be all incels.
Oh yeah, let's
You know
think
what I mean?
about that.
Like it was all the dudes that they were just like, hey, like it was all the duchesses being like, Daddy, can you please send this creepy butcher away?
Oh
and
my
they were like, oh,
God.
well, maybe if he can farm for love, perhaps, then like we'll send him across the ocean.
I did not even think about who they were dispatching because they were obviously like, okay, we can stand to lose this population,
Right.
this specific demographic.
Yeah.
Too bad they didn't have Reddit on the ships
I
over here to
know.
keep them
Oh my
occupied.
gosh. Scurvy's struck again.
Wow.
The only woman on this ship won't talk to me. New life in the new world is already off to a terrible start.
That is so
But
interesting.
they weren't obviously sending like the high value people,
Right, or,
the
like,
ones
guys
made a
with
lot of money. No,
families.
right. They weren't
Yeah.
sending like if he could get it in England, why is he getting on the ship?
Yes.
No.
Oh my God. Speaking of that, have you ever seen the HBO prestige drama, The Terror?
No, never.
Okay, well, it's really scary. It's very great. It's fabulous. It's based on a huge book. But anyway, it's about these explorations of what is it? When they were searching for the Northwest Passage, like up through Canada, like into Alaska or something.
Okay.
Anyways, there was a lot of freaky dudes on that boat, and it's exactly what you're saying. Like crims, mate. Like criminals. Like lowly crims.
Well, Australia is all criminals.
Yes,
basically.
and that's where the slang crims comes from. And I just think it's the best slang word, crims.
Crims.
Yeah, in Australia, they call them criminals crims. And I'm just like, that is so
How do you know?
concise.
Like you go to like your Thanksgiving dinner and it's like crim 1, crim 2.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
we're all just a bunch of crims
How do you keep
floating
track?
around. That's so crazy. No, but like also back to the scurvy thing.
Yes.
Like you think people will just start stealing vitamin C capsules, but like
Yeah.
they don't know because we also have a shortage of family doctors. They're like, I
Exactly.
don't even know that I have scurvy.
No. They probably just think, I mean, what are the symptoms of scurvy? Bleeding gums is first and foremost.
Hot, you know?
Yeah, we like that. But yeah, they must, I don't know, because that would be the sensible thing to do. Grab a scaly skin.
Loosened teeth, anemia. Okay, well, we all have anemia. All
Yeah,
right?
I
Like,
mean,
if you've
that's
ever
a
been a
given.
woman, you have anemia.
If you're a
Like,
petite girl, you already are anemic.
hot girls have anemia for sure. Yeah, rise up. I'm a proud. Are you anemic? Are you? An anemic
Actually,
girl?
no, I'm not.
Really?
But I do know like I know the kind of
You're an ally of the
iconography of anemia in hot babes. But I can't say I am, no.
Okay.
Because what is it? It's an iron deficiency.
yeah,
I feel
yeah,
like
yeah.
I'm quite iron rich. I don't know. Because anemia, you're kind of chilly, right? You're like, I'm cold.
Yeah.
I'm always running hot.
Oh, she's a sweaty girl.
I'm really hot.
I don't know what that might actually be something else. I don't know. Maybe you have a surplus of
I'm
vitamin
sure
C.
I have something
Actually,
else.
if you need vitamin C, it's all Jackie's house. She's
Come
been
grab
gatekeeping-
some. Come
she's been
suck on my
gatekeeping it
blood.
next to her cute little cats. No, but that's actually so sad. The other thing that's making me overstimulated right now is not only are we lacking our basic nutrients.
Yes.
In times of economic recession, I read this online. It's the hemline index, and so that means that as the economy gets shittier, our hemlines get longer and we cover more of our brittle bodies.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And then when it's booming, we're like,
yeah, we're like,
boom.
exactly. We're getting
Wow.
slutty. If you think of like roaring 20s, this is when
Yes.
they first like were thinking about this. Okay, so like roaring 20s, 20 years ago, people were like, you know, they got the cute little bobs and like the little
flapper girls.
exactly, and they were like flapping. They were like, and I know you really love vintage fashion as well.
I do.
And so you can, you know, if you want to get into the brain of a man, and just be like, what's the economy doing? You can tell that by going to Value Village. I think
and seeing what's out there.
Yeah.
You know what though? I look better in a short hem. I'm not saying I've got the greatest legs, but I'm short. So if I have a long hem, a long skirt, I feel like it makes me like look shorter.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna need the economy to fix itself immediately.
I don't look good in that personally.
Because this is not my cut.
No, and it's not even lengths of skirts and dresses. It's also where
height?
of necks.
Wow.
So me turtlenecking right now is like very like I'm super anemic. I have scurvy.
And this is quite high. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Things are not good.
No, but I'm also like it is also just becoming fall, winter in Toronto.
Good
so
point.
you know
Good
we
point.
do need to cover up. I'm also like, is that just me also aging? Because when I was like 21, I had no problem being like, I'm not
Tits
wearing
out.
anything. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Boys will like me. that's honestly, I think my whole comedy career can be attributed to boys will like this.
Boys will love this.
Boys don't. How did that work for you? So you have a partner, you have a long-term, you have a husband.
Yes.
How did that happen for you while also being a comedic superstar?
Yeah, you know what? I think alcoholism kind of lended itself to the process because I met him in a bar.
Classic.
And I'd met him once before, and then this one night I was walking home. It was a long weekend, and I was walking home, and I'm like, you know what? It's a long weekend. I have time to hop in there and have one more drink, like before last call. And he was in the bar, and so I often think if I wouldn't have just needed that one last drink because I don't know when to stop, I wouldn't have ran into him again, and then we like never spent another night apart.
Wow. That's really cute. That's really adorable.
It was
actually.
fun. Yeah.
That you just like you were like, do you still like to drink?
I don't, not as much as then. Yeah,
okay.
that was I was still in my 20s. I was like, well, no, I wasn't actually in my 20s, but I was nearer to my 20s than I am now.
Close enough.
Drinking nowadays is like I still will have. Well, it's hard not to when you're out all the time, like performing at shows and you're waiting to go on, and you're always at a bar. But the anxiety is more debilitating the older I get, and it's not worth it anymore.
No, it actually is so true. Like I wake up and I'm just like, it's not even like I'm anxious about like something I did or said to somebody while I was drunk, because even if I have more than like 2 drinks, I'm just like, maybe you are a piece of shit.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like maybe you're actually not interesting or talented or beautiful.
The negative
like,
self-talk is so loud
it's
the
just
next
there.
morning.
Yeah, and I'm like, I could just go hang out with my parents if I wanted that. Like I didn't need to go out and have like a few
be
drinks
less calories.
Exactly.
Easier on your liver.
Exactly. Wait, but that's the other thing about like if you had scurvy, would it make you skinny?
Great question.
Is that the cheaper version of Ozempic? Like, we didn't need Ozempic prescriptions. We just needed a cost of living crisis.
Yes, yeah. Certainly. But certainly if you are not, but actually it can go the other way, because if you aren't buying fresh produce, and that which is giving you the scurvy, then you're probably, we're all buying shittier, processed, easy, quick Dr. Utker's. Oh, I love a Dr. Utker though. I love a Dr. But yeah.
Who doesn't?
Oh, they're so good.
Growing up, like my mom always like said, like always like make your own food at home. Like you make things from scratch. That is going to be cheaper.
Yes.
But now people are not buying the broccoli because broccoli is $5, and you can also get a full pre-made meal
for the same price.
The same amount, right?
Exactly.
And that's, we're no food scientists over here.
No, but we do have experience eating food, and things are not good.
It's true. What's your favorite thing to eat?
You know what? I get into like habitual fixations. Like, so
do you have ADHD?
I haven't been diagnosed, but it wouldn't bowl me over with shock if I found out that I do.
No one's like, oh babe, like I thought you already knew you had it.
No, exactly. And my dad has rampant, technically undiagnosed, but like ADHD.
Yeah.
To the point where there was a time when my mom had all these books stacked around the house, dealing with an adult with ADHD, your spouse, the ADHD in your marriage, the spouse with ADHD. And I'm laughing at this. And I said to my dad, I'm like, Dad, what do you think of all the books mom has around to try and deal with you? And he said, what books?
He didn't even see them.
Didn't even notice.
Like, you mean the pieces of shit that I've been putting my coffee on the last 3 weeks?
And so I think I come by it honestly, but I haven't faced the facts that I'm not diagnosed. But I do. I can eat the same thing over and over and over, which is what drives a lot of people nuts. But that said, right now, my favorite thing to have, is this going to gross people out? Like sometimes I'm like, am I gross? Okay, here it goes. 2 eggs boiled for exactly 7 minutes, no less, no longer. 7 minutes.
What's about 7 minutes?
It's like a nice jammy, like soft boil. It's like the egg that you would get in like a ramen.
Oh, yum.
Like it has structure, but you break it open and it's like
nice.
But it's not like it has some structural
it's
integrity,
oozing, but just a little bit. It's not too slutty. It's giving a bit away, but it's not. Yeah.
So 2 of those. Okay, cook those 7 minutes, and then I will do like a half a crown of broccoli, lightly steamed, pretty much for the same amount of time.
Okay.
6-7 minutes steamed broccoli, chop that up. And then put that in a bowl and mix in with the broccoli like about 150, oh my God, there is something wrong with me. 150, 200 grams of 2% cottage cheese, okay, protein.
Okay.
Sounds gross, right?
Yeah.
And then
totally, this sounds disgusting. And I like cottage cheese. I'm a protein girly.
Okay.
I like dairy.
But see, when the broccoli is chopped to like a bit more fine, like diced, and it's mixed in with that cottage cheese, and so it's kind of like creamy. It's almost the consistency of like kind of like an Alfredo, like a creamy pasta.
Ooh.
Like an al dente pasta.
Yeah.
And then this is
like
where the flavor comes in, because this is disgusting what I'm describing. But then I have this stuff that's like, I'm obsessed with it. I hoard it. It's called crunchy garlic like topping. It's not chili crisp, but it's like that, and it's like a very umami Japanese crunchy garlic oil, and like with like crunchy bits of garlic in it, and it's very like umami flavor. And with that in there, and then the eggs, and it's like a sesame, and like it's I can't even, it's the best. Actually, don't make it, because I don't want these items to be gone from the grocery store.
That's right. Yeah, we've already established people can't get what they need at the grocery store. Last thing you need to go is not have your cottage cheese.
But am I getting into my own head thinking that people even want to make this dish?
No, I would try it. I'm going to try it. I'll report back.
It's so high protein, and it's so rich in vitamin C. Great for that scurv. Keep that scurv away.
Scurv away.
And it's so like flavorful because of that crunchy garlic stuff. It's the best.
With all this combination, I'm not sure which cultures you appropriated in making this dish.
So many.
But I think they'll forgive it because you're on a protein journey.
Yeah. I forgot to tell you an ingredient. And it's not every time, but a lot of time, if it's like as a treat, I will throw in like 2 or 3 frozen dumplings, like leek and vegetable, or like pork and leek like cheap frozen dumplings. Throw that in the mix.
That's crazy, Jackie.
It's all nuts.
Like I said, I think you just added another culture that you just ruined their
You know what, though? When I think
tradition.
about it, it's heavy on the okay, cottage cheese aside.
Yeah.
It's heavy on the Japanese because of the umami
egg.
and
Yeah.
the egg, ramen-y egg.
Yeah.
A lot of sesame in that
You basically
stuff.
just made low-carb ramen.
Yeah, with no juice.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, put some broth in there.
Yeah.
Go to Farming for Love.
Broth
Source
it up.
the eggs.
Yes,
Source
yes.
the chicken broth.
Yes.
From the farmers.
All from the source.
Straight
from the source.
You know what's crazy also about just being poor in Canada right now is a Canadian university just came out with a report that said wealthier Canadians actually live longer.
Oh, yes. I believe this.
Shouldn't be that shocking
Yeah.
because you have more access to care.
Yes.
You have like more access to like preventive things. You're less likely to struggle with addiction, all those things.
Yes.
But if the old people are just all rich,
Yeah.
like who am I gonna date?
Well, I think a few of them may be single.
Oh my gosh.
I think actually I have experience working in, back in the day when I worked a day job, I did work very closely, very adjacently with quite a wealthy, very elderly population.
Really?
And a lot of single guys.
Did you ever pick up? Did you ever make a move?
No, I didn't want to mix work and personal life, and that's why.
That's very respectful of you. That's very mature. Actually,
Yes,
I really appreciate it.
Yeah, I was a professional. But that's got to be true because, as you were saying, stress-free, access to all the best care, round-the-clock care. What a life.
Yeah, I know. Let me read you part of it. It says, actually, sorry, it's my first time ever reading.
Oh, no problem. Okay, I'm here for you. Sound it out.
I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. So the study said that our findings show that Canadians with higher incomes are more likely to live independently at age 55 and less likely to become dependent. And after controlling for several socioeconomic factors, they found a 1% increase in income was associated with the following. A 1% increase was associated with nearly a 5% increase in survival probability.
Okay, wow.
A 1% decrease in the likelihood of having limitations in daily activities, and a 2% decrease in the likelihood of entering long-term care, which everybody knows. People just kind of low-key go there to...
Bye-bye.
Bye.
That is incredible. Just a 1% increase in wealth does all of that.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh my God, I got to chase that 1%.
Where is it going?
Oh my God. Do you know what I do to stave off? I've heard this. To stave off or to prolong your independence physically as long as you can is I've heard someone say, and I take this to heart, never start sitting down to put your shoes on.
Oh.
Don't ever start doing that in your life. And I don't. Okay. I refuse. And I have stairs, like a landing that I could easily sit down to put my shoes on. Never. I refuse.
Even if you got high heels, you're falling over. You're like,
nothing.
No.
I will always stand because that if you can maintain the balance, the little balance that takes every day, you're fostering that balance. It's all about balance. It's all about
you have to, also, this is crazy because Jackie, you're so short, so that for you reaching your toes,
it's not far.
It's
like, not far.
I'm thinking of like a 6'5" man that's got to like bend down
all the way down. All
the
blood goes to his head.
That's right.
And also, the taller you are, the less long you live.
Longy limbs. I know.
Yeah.
Well, see, my problem is with this income piece is, I would rather buy things now than possibly live independent later. You know, like that moment hasn't arrived yet. And I would rather have dinner with my girlfriends now than like maybe own a house.
Oh, I see what you mean.
You know, people always say like saving is all about impulse control. It's not that I'm like not controlling my impulses. I'm actually living in line with my values.
Which are here and now.
Exactly.
You're right.
I'm in the power of now.
Yeah.
All those, mental health gurus are like, be in the present moment. But then people are like, you have to save for the future. I'm like, I don't even know if I want to live that long.
Those two things don't align.
No, right. So which is it?
Live fast.
Die young, bad
and leave a beautiful corpse. A beautiful corpse that just ate at a fancy restaurant.
That just ate a cottage cheese broccoli dish.
Just ate Nordica cottage cheese.
Nordica cottage cheese. So you were saying that's the expensive one.
The Cadillac.
Maybe that's why they're living so long too. They can afford the Cadillac kind of cheese.
Yes,
they can.
Oh my God, to be them.
That's so crazy. Okay, one more piece that's making me overstimulated right now.
Lay it on me.
Is that, this was not very well researched. I don't have an article with stats for
Who
this
needs
one.
research?
But apparently babies are becoming less likely to interpret emotions because so many of their moms are getting Botox and they're not able to show the full range of emotions.
Oh my God. I wouldn't have thought of that.
Yeah. Does that, I don't know if that's real. I don't know if that's real. I mean, I've also seen things that people are like, Botox decreases your empathy because it like enters the needle in your brain. I'm like, I don't think it's supposed to go there.
If it's getting all the way into your brain, that's pretty good value. I'll pay $15 a unit if it's going right into that.
I low-key got a lobotomy.
That means that I don't have to think either. Yeah.
Great. Yeah. 2-for-1 deal. I don't have to be old or think. That's my fucking dream.
But this is so interesting because I've seen studies and seen like little things online as well of like just these experiments where a mom, and this is a heartbreaking thing for a mom to have to do, but it was in a lab, a mom to be with their baby going like, who are you? And like, so happy, and mommy loves you. And the baby's like, right? But then there was like the control of that experiment was the mom just going like this, like just blank. Emotion. And the baby was like, and then the baby was getting increasingly upset.
Yes, yeah. Yeah.
So like, I don't have kids. Yeah. I love Botox. Another reason for me to not have kids. But I wonder if I had kids, would I? You know what? My facial muscles are so powerful and strong. I think I could power through, and I think the baby would still pick up on things. I was
going to ask you, with all your comedy and acting, so like, of course, this is the instrument here, right? Like, do you ever...
You have to have some movement.
That's right, Or there's like, you know, you make a certain face at the audience that makes the joke funnier, right? Like, if you're acting, it's your job to convey that emotion. Like, did you ever think of like when you were getting Botox?
Totally, and I the first time I ever got it done, I did explain that to like my girl. Yeah. And I'm like, I don't want to be, but you know what? No, I don't feel like, I don't think it's like the Nicole Kidman thing. Like, you know, when she was first in the Wild West early days of Botox, when people didn't understand the like the unit number and like the dosage. Right. That's when everyone was like,
you're like just walking out with an arm on your forehead. People are like, does she have scurvy? Like, something's wrong.
It was
her gums are bleeding.
Like they've learned so much since then that I think it's quite rare to see someone that's like too frozen. That I don't think that really happens as much anymore. And also, like, I am so expressive. It's funny because like that's why I like to get it, because I am so expressive that like I want to preserve this as much as possible. Yeah. But also I need to have my eyebrows move because that's good for me. It makes me me.
That's a personal choice to have moving eyebrows.
But I've never gotten so much that I feel like anyone's ever noticed, or I haven't been able to do that. Also, if you're looking at me right now and being like, you don't look like you get Botox. I'm due. I'm actually overdue for my next dosage. So I do have a lot of movement right now. Like, ooh. Like I've got.
I don't see, you're lineless. Basically.
The lighting is good in here.
The lighting's good. She's like, we're so set up.
But the poor babies. The poor babies.
Yeah. So I don't know if like I wonder, maybe the moms just aren't showing emotion. Like maybe it has nothing to do with the Botox. Maybe they're actually suffering from postpartum depression, and rather than addressing a core woman's health issue, they're just like, it's the Botox.
Blaming it on our Botox.
Right. Blaming it on the society that tells us we have to look a certain way.
Of course we can't have nice things.
I don't know. That's crazy.
But how interesting, because I went to school for linguistics, and my favorite part
and that's
of
why
that,
you're a pet whisperer.
It could be, yes. Yeah, I'm trying to get them. I'm trying to get them to have a universal grammar and develop their grammar module like humans. But there was a lot of like stuff in studying early childhood language acquisition that is so dependent. The data input for babies that are learning their language is so dependent on facial cues and intonations, and like the reason like what moms do when they like the way that we talk to babies slow like that's also crucial for them learning the language.
So if you just talk to a baby like this, they're going to be like,
it would be harder for them to pick it up. Yeah.
That's how I'm going to teach my kids and be like, step it up, guys.
With the program.
Get with the program.
Completely frozen.
Nobody's going to speak to you like this your whole life. Like, buckle up.
Yeah.
I raised the next serial
you for the real
killer.
world. Oh my God, it would be 100% a serial killer.
Yeah, there's a bunch of serial killer babies just running around because we didn't show empathy.
Yes.
Also, I'm also not a mom. Obviously, she's way too young. She's way too young. But like, I can't imagine the pressure of like, okay, I got to feed this thing every day. I got to make sure it gets enough sunlight. I need to feed myself, make sure I get enough sunlight. I need to bathe myself, bathe this other thing, and I need to speak to it nicely all the time and slowly,
and make sure it's not a serial killer.
There's so much pressure.
Oh my gosh, Hillary, I haven't thought of that. Because I have like wrestled with the parent question a lot. I feel like I've kind of come to the conclusion that it's not doesn't fit with this lifestyle.
Okay. Yes.
Of ours of
Right.
showbiz.
Yeah.
But I didn't even think of that extra responsibility of making sure that they are not a crim.
Yes. Make sure they don't end up in
That is
Australia.
a huge responsibility.
Yeah.
Also, I'm hoping that actually crim is not an actual bad slur in Australia that I'm just not aware of, because you're going to have a lot of editing difficulties.
We'll just bleep it out. We'll put a
Research,
nice
maybe
little
research it a bit.
overstimulated- Yeah.
What's that?
Sorry, everybody, if that's not good. We actually did zero research for this podcast.
I just saw it on a show. I saw it on like a Netflix show from Australia, and this kid was always calling people crims, and I loved it.
That's.
I'm sure
I
it's
think
fine.
That's like what are you watching right now?
Right now, I'm watching on HBO, and I didn't realize how old it was because there's a lot of seasons, but it's called The Leftovers.
Oh, tell me more. I don't know
It's
it.
Justin Theroux. Do you know him?
I do. I'm familiar.
And he's cool. And Carrie Coons, who I love. She's a very cool girl, actor. Ann Dowd, isn't it? Ann Dowd, who's also in The Handmaid's Tale.
Oh,
She's like the mean lady.
Yes.
And it's about an occurrence, a science fiction, or is it religious occurrence where all of a sudden one day on like October 14th, 2000 something, 14 or something, like 20% of the world population just like literally vanished.
Okay, well that's the scurvy part. We're trimming out. Wait,
yeah.
That's actually why it was done. They're like, we gotta loosen up the load a little bit.
We gotta make lives more available to the
Okay,
population.
I love like a dystopian.
Is it the rapture? Is it a
Yeah.
religious thing? Nobody knows. And it's just kind of a look at the lives of the people left over and the disrepair of the world, the dystopian state of the world after this happens. It's very cool.
And this is your new go-to.
Yes.
Like, it is. I don't like watching spooky yuki things.
Like that's
that
all I
might-
watch.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
See, I think like most comics are probably like you, where like we're so like
We
all
don't
the
want to
time
watch
that-
happy, fun things.
Yeah. We're like, give it to me dark.
Yes.
Like, give it to me. Yeah.
That is
yeah.
me. And it's a problem. It's a problem. My poor husband is like, might we watch something fun tonight? No, we can't watch anything fun.
We can't watch Farming for Love.
No, we have to watch the Menendez brothers murder their parents tonight. But that's
the only
funny.
thing that's gonna help me sleep.
Yes, yeah. Oh, and then I can just drift off into a peaceful sleep. But it's so funny you say that because I'm not a reality show girly.
Oh, okay.
Which really ostracizes or, it alienates me from a lot of my girlfriends' conversations.
Yeah.
Because I am intrigued by it. And they're like, Jackie, you have to watch Real Housewives. Like, you would love it. Like, you have to watch. I just have never got into it. So the Farming for Love job is great for me, hopefully, please have me back next year, was good for me because I got hooked immediately on this reality show.
Yeah.
And it opened up a new world of something a little bit more pleasant to watch.
Yeah, right. Well, and I think especially you're also watching it like for work. Like,
Yes, yeah, which
but
felt like a
forces-
treat.
Yes, right. But I find with some of those things too, like similar to like what you and Melissa do in like the after harvest.
Yes,
that like I recently started watching the new season of Love Is Blind like with some
Okay,
girlfriends.
right.
And like I would have never sat at home and just
watched it.
Exactly.
But
yeah.
you have it's like a book club.
Exactly. And now it's, wait, this is awful that the modern world is like, Love Is Blind is my book club. We actually don't know how to read. We all have scurvy and we're just
And we can't
watching
read
Love
and our
Is
gums are bleeding as we're watching this. But you know what? That is you're still
Yeah.
fostering community
Come on,
and you're
yes,
still
that's right.
exercising your mind in a way that you because now you're accountable to discussing it and dissecting it
Yes.
and investigating it and
Yes.
what if and what's their motives. I think it's all very valuable.
Yeah, I think so. And it's like, it's because it's like, it's a piece of the conversation. Like it's a fixture of the evening at that point where it's like, and it's also something where you don't need to pay attention like word for word to
Right.
like get it.
You
Like
can kind of just let
like
it
zone-
wash over
It's actually
you.
an ADHD girl's dream.
Oh, God, get me there then. I'll bring my dad.
Bring your dad to girls' night. We'll watch Love Is Blind.
He'd love it.
It's so hilarious. Do you have funny parents? Are your parents funny?
I think my parents are both very funny in their own ways. My dad is a natural storyteller and a natural entertainer.
How to get stuck in Oshawa?
He was working on at the time of my conception and birth in Oshawa. My dad was
I love that you have to
working.
put there, like, just to clarify, I was also conceived.
I just think it's a big part of my story.
It wasn't on some fancy cruise ship or whatever, like some of the other girls.
Deep in Oshawa. But both my parents are from Guelph.
Okay.
And they only moved there in the late 80s because my dad was working on the line at GM at General Motors, but they were also doing some real estate stuff. So my dad was very busy working on the line, and then they were like flipping houses, and we were living in the houses as they were being flipped. Long story.
Wow.
But then that only lasted a few years. But he's a jack of all trades. He's a contractor. Can do all, like, he can build a house from scratch.
Okay.
By himself, and he's actually doing that right now, renoing. But he's also done a lot of jobs over the years in sales, and he's just a very entertaining guy who loves to tell stories and is effervescent. And my mom is very, like, she's like the classic, sweet, caring, selfless, kind of worrywart, like fuss, like worries about and like paranoid, like be careful.
Like you have to when your husband has ADHD.
Oh yes,
like,
exactly. Exactly. You're so right. But she has a dark, kind of just below the surface sense of humor, like a twisted, dark kind of, and like a scamp, and like prankster scamp, impish. And so the marrying of those two personalities, I think I come by my comedy very honestly.
You have a bit of mix of all these different sides. It's funny you say it that way because I'm also like pretty confident my dad has ADHD.
Right.
Sorry, he definitely does. Like if like I'll like watch that man like put something down and then be like, where, not even just like the small things like that, but like every family vacation we went on growing up, it was like a running bit that like my dad had to buy like 3 extra swimsuits wherever we
where
went.
are they?
Because that's like, think about it, it's the last thing in the hotel room that's like you leave drying somewhere and it's like and like,
they never come home with you.
Yeah, and I'm sure like like the Marriott like hotel whatever, they're just like, oh, another swimsuit, stray swimsuit just left in this man's hotel room. Like we've got it all locked up. We got a file. There's a drawer somewhere
with all of them.
All like purple, just purple, bright orange, like Hawaiian swimsuits.
I love these colors for your dad.
A white man is like really rocking it out. It's not a Speedo, thank God, but like
some nice trunks.
That's
conservative trunks.
Exactly. But like my dad also has like a very similar like playful like life at the party kind of like energy. And he was the first person that I really saw like using humor as a tool to like connect with people.
Okay.
And so I thought that was so neat of like, oh, like maybe there might be a situation where like two people, like I knew like the two people maybe didn't get along or didn't know each other as well, and like in comes dad with like a joke and like now and I'm like, oh,
to diffuse
exactly,
and be like a social steward.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah. And he loves a celebration. He loves like a party.
Okay.
Like my parents were getting some landscaping done in their backyard, and my dad felt it was very monumental that he invited all of the neighbors over to have like apple fritters and coffee in their backyard.
That's so nice.
To like watch it all. But he's like any excuse to like gather people. Like that's what he's about. But then similarly to like your mom, my mom was also just like, okay, he's the one having fun.
Yeah,
I need to make sure
she's
like,
the grounding element. Yeah.
Which I'm like, can't be good for the women's movement.
No, and know what? It's not. It's not.
Really
like the
bad.
kind of fun cop kind of like, I know. I know, and I don't like that for my mom.
Which maybe further supports your idea of not having kids. Because I feel like if you just are like partnered and you don't have kids, like that, you know what I mean? You could still kind of like, he's doing his thing, whatever. And then as soon as like you have a baby, you're like, shit.
I know.
Uh-oh.
An extra layer, an extra consideration.
Right.
But no, what's different about our dads is that as much as
I think our dads would be friends. What's your dad's name?
I think John with an H.
John with an H.
The good John.
My dad's Mark with a K.
Okay, good.
Baby
That's the good Mark. Not with a C.
Like
Ugh. Or a John with Jon, like who are you, Garfield's guy?
Joe Nathan.
Yeah.
Just grow up.
Yeah. But the funny thing about my dad, and I'm like this too, is that when we are out in society, we are like, hello, my baby. Hello, my dad. Like we're really like on. And then our social battery runs out like that.
Yeah.
And then he's very antisocial and at the same time. Like my parents live quite rural. And you know,
they still live in Guelph area?
And I grew up, like once we moved back to Guelph from Oshawa, like it's outskirts of Guelph, north, kind of in between Fergus, like suburb in the middle of farmland.
Yeah. For those of you who aren't familiar with your rural Ontario geography,
these are actually
out there.
iconic locations.
You should get to see it.
Yeah.
It's like actually like Paris.
Gorgeous.
It's crazy that we imported all these names. They're like Paris, London. Like the fact that we even need to specify. It's like,
I know.
No, babe, nobody was referencing
Nobody
that
thinks.
No one thinks about Paris, Ontario. Sorry.
But they are so kind of far out. And my mom jokes about this one time they were sitting out on the porch and my dad's like, goddamn dog barking. And my mom's like, what? And then she listens. And then like from like 5 kilometers away, you hear, arf, arf, like, arf, arf. And that was annoying him because he's like, all these people are, or like there'll be a lawnmower like going from like miles away. And he's like, lawnmower. He's like, it would be my dream to live with no one around. I'm like, you already have no one around.
Oh, interesting.
There's no one around here.
But as soon as somebody opens the door, he's like, hi, nice to see you. Like,
exactly.
and you're like, wait, what?
It's
He
complex.
sounds confused. He sounds overstimulated, actually.
Yeah, him and we are both. Because
Yeah.
I'm like that too. Because I'm like, I'm always like, oh, I have a thing to go to and I don't want to do it. I'm like, oh, I have to do that.
Yeah.
And my husband's always like, you know you're going to get there and you're going to be on and then you're not going to want to leave.
I know.
And it's the same with my dad. My dad will be like, oh, we got to go to like Thanksgiving or this or a family event. And we're like, yeah. And then you get him there and you can't get him to leave.
Yeah.
And it annoys me, but I am exactly him.
You're that, I know. There's nothing worse than there's nothing
Like,
worse as a girl realizing you're actually your dad.
Oh, it's tough, isn't it? Ugh.
Sometimes my mom has like a picture from like a Thanksgiving like a couple years ago where like we're both standing the same way. Like I'm like
you and your dad?
I'm like me as like a cute girl. Like I'm not trying to like embody 60-year-old man.
Yeah, why am I
energy.
dad coded?
Like love my
Oh God.
Wait, why are we so do you like sports? Or you're like, was
No,
your dad
I'm not a
sports
big,
guy?
and we didn't get. I didn't grow up with like watching sports.
Me neither.
Okay,
Me neither.
yeah.
I think I would have turned out a completely different girl if that would have happened to me.
If it would have happened to me, now I would be a girl that's like, I'm not like other girls. I'm like one of the guys. I like to watch sports. I eat burgers and I burp and I drink beer. I'm not like other girls. Pick me, girl.
Yeah. I'm not even being pick me. These are just true.
Yeah, but I'm not sporty, but which is crazy because I also do work with a lot, like sometimes with like sports betting stuff, like work.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I get gigs like that, like talking about sports or sports betting, I'm so out of my element that I have to say to the people on set, like, sorry, how would you say this?
Yeah,
I have no
exactly.
language for it. I'm like, how did I? But you know this industry. We fall ass backwards into the most unlikely jobs. And then we kind of get comfy there and we're like, oh, I guess I'm a sports girl now.
Yeah. Everybody come to me for all your sports
betting stuff.
Yeah.
It's so strange.
Yeah, that's crazy. So Thanksgiving just happened. When this episode comes out, it'll have just happened.
Yes.
Does your family have like a Thanksgiving?
Yes. It's always my aunt. It's always my wonderful aunt who has a beautiful Thanksgiving dinner, the works, the turkey, everything. And I love it. And my uncle always...
Who's being weird?
Oh, who's being weird
Who's
at
being
it?
weird?
Well, you know what? The people that were a little bit weird at it, they're sadly no longer around. But sadly, so as is normal, grandparents pass away. But the weirdest part of these Thanksgiving events in the years past was that, so my grandpa, he wasn't weird, but everyone loves him. He's the best. His name was Ed. He was always there. And then this other grandpa that's kind of like adjacent to my family, like, you know how your cousins have like other grandparents, which is weird.
Yeah.
So it's their like uncle on their like an old guy.
Just an old dude that got brought into the
old dude that was folded into the mix. And every function, Thanksgiving, Christmas, over the years that both of them were at, they would kind of have this silent war, this kind of aggressive silent war over which of these old men got the like disgusting giblet turkey neck and all that like shit that like nobody wants outside of the Depression era would ever eat. What is it? It's called the giblets, right? And like the lip, and then they're like paws off of that, and then it's these two guys having this, and everyone else is like, yeah, have at it, guys.
They're like, please, nobody actually wanted that, but they're like foaming at the mouth, like,
and they would end up, I guess, coming to some agreement of who got what. But I miss that weird because I'd always love to like watch that unfold from the side.
Like, why are these old men fighting over a turkey neck in the middle of
the neck? It looks. I'm sorry. It looks like a dick. It looks like a dick.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not. And they're just like, let me put that in my mouth.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh God, give me that. I gotta have it.
So funny. No, why is it so true that there's always like one man at every family gathering that you're like, why is he here?
Yeah. Why? Who is he? Why is he here?
It's never a woman. It's never a woman like shows
it's
up
a
and
guy.
you're like, what is she doing here?
And you have to ask your mom, who is that guy again?
Yeah, you're like, should I hug him?
Yeah.
like, do we know him like that? Like, that's actually
on a scale of 1 to 10. How alarming is it if I let him hug me?
Yeah. 100%. But then I wonder, then like maybe this is back to our parenting advice moment, right? Like as a mom, would you make your kid hug somebody that they didn't know?
No, you know what? Like if it was 25, 30 years ago when we were when I was being raised.
Yeah, it was like put on your plaid dress and hug everybody you've ever met.
Yeah. Or visiting your great grandpa at the retirement home, hug all of these kind of soily ancient men. But
hug all of his friends.
Yes. But no, I wouldn't. I don't think I would. If the kid was showing signs of like maybe strange aversion to normal
touch,
a family affection or touch, I'd be like, hey, it's just grandma or it's just grandpa, like those family members. But I guess, nowadays it's not really kosher to make a kid hug. I said something the other day because it's such a different time now. I shouldn't have said that. I thought it was a mistake as soon as I said it, but I was in Old Navy. Yes, Old Navy. Affordable basics in runt sizing for people who we're not breastfed.
Wait,
short inseams.
Is that genuinely why you believe you're a shorty girl?
I'm small for a lot of reasons, but all my family is short. My dad's like 5'6", my brother's 5'6", my mom's 5'0". Okay. Doctor says I'm 4'11", but I am arguing with her about it. I was 5 feet and I am still 5 feet.
Okay.
But also I wasn't breastfed, so that doesn't help.
You didn't get the nutrients you needed.
No.
And she probably also has scurvy.
And actually, she was packing the formula with a scurvy supplement. But where was I going with this?
You were talking about...
I was in Old Navy. Oh, yeah. Anyway, there's
a
little girl in Old Navy that was so cute. Like, she was unbelievably cute. And then I was like, she was in front of me in line, and like I guess her mom, I kind of caught her mom's eye, like admiring, and I was like, "She's so pretty, girl." And the mom was like, "Thank you," and I'm like, I don't know if you're supposed to like ingrain that in children now. Like you're pretty, and that's your value because you're pretty.
Did people in your life tell you you were pretty as a little girl?
Yes, and now I think that as you can, you've probably picked up over this podcast of I need my Botox. I put a lot of value into not aging and my looks, and there's no part of me that is capable of body neutrality, which I would love to achieve.
I don't know if I think that's a myth.
It's gotta be, right?
I don't think it can be.
It's
like the female orgasm. No one's ever seen it.
No one. Where is it?
We can't report.
Do we have data on this?
Literally none. But that's crazy though. Have you seen Ellen's recent Netflix special?
No, I have not. No, not yet.
Put it on your to-do list.
Okay.
I'm not saying I love Ellen.
No,
okay,
right, but
also I wasn't in the room when she was being mean. So
yeah, she was never mean to us.
I don't know. Yeah, me personally,
we're not Dakota Johnson.
Yeah, but she makes like some very good points about how she uses this whole metaphor to explain at the beginning that she's like, yeah, of course I care what people think, and we all care what people think. And she uses the example of like, have you ever tried to parallel park into a spot right in front of a busy cafe?
Oh God!
And you do it, and you're like, fuck, I can't get this right, and then eventually you drive off because you're so ashamed. It's like we all know that feeling. Like we all want to be like, why are we pretending? Like, ooh, but I don't care.
Yeah, like I don't care. Like everyone cares.
And
everyone is perceived.
She talks about Botox as well. And she's like, yeah, I was getting my Botox back when I didn't care what people thought about me. Right?
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. Ellen, good point. I am going to watch that.
Points. Yeah. It was really interesting. And also just like her as an entertainer taking this massive undertaking of doing a daily show like that for
however many plus decades.
Exactly, right? And she's talking about, she's like, I got canceled from show business because I was too gay and I couldn't find work for like 3 years.
Right.
Because, like you can be gay in show business.
Yes. Right? And it was such a crazy thing when she came out. Oh my God. What a roller coaster.
Wait, that's a good question. Who are some of your comedic inspirations?
Oh, who have I loved? Well, you know what? The pet stuff. I remember as a kid.
Where did that come from?
I loved George Carlin, and I know that he was an edgelord in a lot of ways, and I'm certain that there's probably, and he was, but like all of his political stuff aside, which I didn't absorb or understand as a kid, he also had a lot of jokes about cats and dogs and the difference between cats and dogs, and he would do like voices and like his like ooh, like he would like, and like the way he would like get when he like talked about ooh like a cat, and like he's like, and like dogs like have eyebrows and basically like why he had this really great bit about why we put so much emotion onto dogs. Like, look at him, he's so sad. Look at him, all the sadness in the whole world is
because
right
we're
in his eyes.
projecting?
But no, he said it's only because they have eyebrows. Because they'll look at you like this. Right? Whereas cats don't. They just have this.
Oh.
It's a whole bit. And it's one of my favorite bits.
What's your cat's name?
Nutland.
Nutland.
Yes. Peanut is her full name. Peanut Marie.
Okay, what's like her, for all the cat moms out there?
Yes.
What's the dream routine? How do you get her making such good voices and living her best life?
Well, she's a very independent, funny, interesting girl with her own personality, Nutland, and she lives her best life on her own terms. She's 16 years old.
Wow.
Yeah.
Nutland's good. Also, sorry, where did Nutland come from?
The nickname Nutland.
Yes.
So, this is a bit of a reach, and it kind of speaks to my mental state at the time. But years ago, when I had first kind of got Nutland, this was in probably 2011. I'd had her for like just over a year. And so when I got her, she was 2 years old, and her name is Peanut, which is cute. But there's a lot of pets named Peanut, and I think it's a little bit pedestrian. And
you can level it up a little bit.
yeah. And at the time, I was binge watching a show that you would hate because it's very disturbing and sad and scary, called Twin Peaks.
Oh, yeah.
And it's the best. And there's a crazy character played by a really great actor, and the character's name was Leland Palmer. And I'm just like, I love that name, Leland. Like that suffix on a name, Lind, like Lind, you know, like Leland. I like that, Leland. And so it kind of became Peanut, kind of morphing into like, I like that Lind. So it became Nutland.
Oh.
A little, I know it's,
Peeland.
thank you for following me on that. Yeah, not Peeland, Nutland. Because she's a nut. Peanut's a nut.
She's a nut. Little
Nutland.
Nutty, just like her mama.
We're a couple of nutty girls.
We're a couple of nutty girls.
So her full name, and I didn't take my husband's last name, but I gave her my husband's last name.
Oh,
so she is
how modern.
Exactly. Like I'm like an independent girl, but Nutland can take her name. Yeah, because that's her dad.
What's his last name?
Crump, like a crumpet. Crump. Crump, yeah. So her name is, and her middle name is Marie, and I gave her that middle name because it's so 90s. Peanut Marie Crump. Yeah.
That's so beautiful. That's so crazy.
And I have a certificate that I got last Sunday when I took her to the St. Paul's Trinity United Church to get blessed. I took her in her stroller to get blessed. I'm not religious, but they had a bless your pets.
Sorry, rewind. You were not religious.
No.
But you were like, let's get my pet baptized just in case.
It's not a baptism. It's
Can they baptize cats? Is that
I'm
allowed?
sure you could. Well, I don't know. What I'm not going to say what God's thinking.
Did you pay for this?
No.
Okay.
The United Church is quite rock and roll. So I'm not religious. I wasn't brought up religious. I'm not baptized. But the United Church does do a lot of great stuff in the community. Very queer friendly. Yes. Everyone welcome. Yeah. Come as you are.
Yeah.
Very
Up
progressive and artistic.
The head of the United Church in Canada was a gay woman.
There you go.
Yeah. Yeah, very progressive.
Rock and roll.
Yes. So they're all about blessing cats.
Yeah, and so this is worldwide. And I think some like Unitarian churches, like United churches and Anglican churches all recognize this day. October 6th is Bless the Animals Day, like Blessed Are the Animals Day.
Oh.
And it's kind of a celebration or a recognition of this part of the Bible that speaks about how God kind of like dealt with the animals that were like already kind of there. I don't know. There's some holes in the kind of
I'm pretty sure there was a bunch of dinosaurs. He's like, well, you guys were a good prototype. You're all fucking gone. Yeah. Now I'm ready for the big guys.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And so it was a wonderful day. I walk around with Nutland in her stroller a lot. As you know by now, we're late into the podcast. I'm not well. And I take her in her buggy, and it was a wonderful morning. The service was great. There's beautiful live music, string quartets and choir. And then
a lot for a cat.
Yeah, but she's so good. She was just like, she's very calm.
Do you think she knew it was about her?
I think that she assumes everything and of every second of every day is about her. And this was no different because I cater to her so much. My husband's like, oh my God. He loves her too, but he's like, I
actually think you'd be a great
bend
mom,
over
Jackie.
backward. Well, that's what everyone says. Because they're like, you bend over backwards for this cat. She's my constant priority. I'm constantly thinking about her. And her needs and what's best for her, to the point where my family's like, oh my God. Well, when I told them that I was going to get her blessed, my mom was like, I am concerned about this. And I said, I'm not taking her to the Catholic church. I'm not going to expose her to any freaks. Don't be concerned.
Oh my God. My cat's not going to get touched. It's
don't
fine.
worry. Don't be concerned.
She's not going to have to hug anyone she doesn't want to
hug. Yeah. It's all good. But it was the best. And then the Reverend, who was a wonderful lady, and you come up and you get the communion, and then the pets are all, she just kind of like pets them, and gives them a verbal blessing, being like, God, you are part of God's plan. I don't remember what it said, but then we got a certificate. and I got to write her name on it myself. In beautiful script, Peanut Marie Crump was blessed on this day of October 6th. Yeah.
Are you concerned that your cat is going to make it to the afterlife and you won't?
You know what? I'm not. It wasn't even about that. It wasn't even about It was really just about. Let's have a nice outing. Let's go somewhere where they're doing something for pets.
I don't think it's been since like 1940 that somebody was like, I would like something to do to the local church.
I know. I'm finding myself with more time on my hands these days.
She's like, somebody give Jackie a job ASAP.
Yeah.
So
if anyone's hiring,
that is so crazy.
Yeah.
I don't think I'd bless a cat. I'm like lukewarm about blessing children. Like,
right.
Like I'm just like, is
it necessary?
Like, yeah, if God's really all loving, it'll be fine.
Well, that's what I liked what she said, because as I've said, I'm not baptized, but she said, the Reverend was like, everyone can come and get communion, and I'm like, certainly I can't because I'm not baptized. And it's as if she read my mind. She was like, and even if you're not baptized, communion is for everyone. Otherwise, would it really be holy? Great question, girl.
Love that. See, okay, I grew up in a Protestant church, in a Presbyterian church.
Okay, I don't really know the ins and outs of Protestant Presbyterian.
Presbyterian.
Yeah.
It's all about like you got to do hard deed. You got to work hard.
Okay.
To get into heaven. It's not just like you're given to heaven. It's like you all start
at zero.
Yeah. And it's like do the
you
nice
better work,
thing.
bitch.
That's which I think was that's how they got people to work in the fields. That's how they got all the incels to farm really hard. Because it was like, guys, you're getting no bitches now. In heaven, you're gonna, but you got to farm hard every day to get in there.
Farm hard.
Farm hard.
Farm hard.
If Farming for Love wants to contact me and they want another spin-off series called Farm
Hard. I'd watch. I'd comment.
Farm hard.
But this is interesting.
So because that and like the church I grew up in was like, pretty loosey-goosey.
Okay.
Like they were just like, show up if you want, like it wasn't, I would say it's like pretty progressive from like how most people would see church. But then I went to a Catholic high school. But so I was baptized, so I was allowed to go to the Catholic high school.
Okay.
But I wasn't allowed to have communion at the Catholic high school because I didn't have my first
your confirmation or whatever. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Like we had a similar thing where I think it's called a profession of faith, where you have to go to the church for a couple Saturdays.
Okay.
And you sit down with an old person at the church and you ask them.
God, they're not short on those there.
I've got so many. Some of us actually had to triple and double up because there were so many old people that were like, I want to talk to the youth. Like,
yes, I bet. Lineups.
They were like, there's Werther's just falling out of my pockets right now, but I'm ready to impart some wisdom. And like it was, you just got to sit with an old person from the church and you ask them like any question you want about God.
Right.
And so like that was my journey. And then I went to the Catholic high school and it was actually like, so if you didn't receive the little wafer that they wouldn't give me back in Catholic high school, you could go and cross your hands in front of your chest.
Be like, I can't
to get a blessing.
Oh, okay.
Yes. But what that meant is if you did this and you wanted a blessing, it either meant that like you weren't Catholic, which obviously is sin,
right?
Or it meant that you'd either done something so bad that you couldn't accept it, or like you hadn't been to confession recently.
Oh God!
And so every time I went
it's like a red letter.
100%. I went up like it's like these like 1,000 people in a gym having the mass, and then of course when I'm 14 years old, I'm like, surely everybody's looking at me right now doing this.
But you wouldn't feel like so doxed.
It was, yeah. So I like the philosophy that your cat
that
church
everyone
had,
can.
They're like everybody can participate in this. Actually,
all are welcome and come as you are.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Like doing that's kind of like being like, can I
know? It's so bratty. It's so bratty when you think about it. I was serving OG Brat Summer.
Brat Summer at the church.
2010. They hated to see me coming with my arms crossed. That's so crazy.
You guys are about to find out a lot about me.
That's so crazy. So are you going to go back with Nutlin to the church anytime soon?
Next year, I guess maybe for the next one. It's only October 6th. But I feel like, straight after the blessing, this is so typical. Right after she was blessed, and then we were like making our way to the table to get our certificate, this like big silly golden doodle, like kind of big oaf dog was in front, and he kind of spun around, and he was well-meaning, and he kind of like wanted a little sniff and a kiss of Nutlin, and she was like, she doesn't like any other animals, and she was like, she did one of these, and I'm like,
Not in church.
right after your blessing, and now I feel like it doesn't count, or like you've already.
She's got mean.
Yeah, so I'm like, oh God, God forgives, I guess. But it was, like right, not in the church.
Forgive my church.
Like overt violence in the church. Oh well.
Yeah.
So yes, we will have to go back next year to
because
renew
clearly
it.
It didn't work.
Yeah,
You
like
need to,
within 10
get-
minutes,
there's
we
too many demons
botched it.
No, isn't it so crazy that like we will? You know how people will say like men will literally do blank instead of going to therapy.
Yes.
Girls will get their cat baptized instead of going to therapy. Okay,
That is so true. And I am in desperate need. I've never had a minute of therapy. Can you tell?
Really? You've
No.
Never ever?
I would thrive in therapy because I'm an open book. I love to speak. I love to talk.
Yeah, I was
Nothing's
gonna say,
off.
I feel like
off
therapy
book.
would
Be the
be your
best.
time.
But I'm
Yeah.
like, I don't know. I'm like cheap. And
Yeah.
I'm like frugal with my time. I'm like, I want to spend my time doing that.
Yeah.
Like I can DIY it. I can fix myself, and I don't do anything to do that except shit like that. Go to the
then
church.
Your cat is in a stroller going to church. You're like,
Yeah.
I don't need therapy.
When-
That's a waste of time.
Oh,
You know
yeah.
what wouldn't be a waste of time? Taking my cat to church. To
when
get
you're
baptized.
strolling your cat down that aisle of that United Church, it really brings things home for you. Like
see
maybe I should go to betterhelp.com.
when you see the stained glass coming through Jesus
Yes.
that hits your cat's face.
Yeah, come to Jesus moment.
Yeah, suddenly you're
It's
like,
time.
maybe I'm the problem.
Yes, maybe next time I'm on, I'll say I actually ended up going after that conversation.
Thank you so much, Hillary. That's right. Oh my
Thank
God,
you.
Jackie, thank you so much for being here.
was so
I'm
much
happy
fun.
you were able
I
to
love it
join
here.
us. I have so many other questions for you, so we'll have to have you back another time.
I would love
'cause
to
you're
come
such an
back.
accomplished girl.
Oh, thank you.
Is there anything that you would like to promote coming up? Where can we find you on socials?
Oh, I know what I can promote. If you're an early bird and you're up with the birds in the morning, I just started last week a new gig of mornings on Indie 88.
Cool.
I'm with Carlin and Brent from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. like 4 times a week, 4 times a week.
That's so fun.
So I'm gabbing. That's why I kind of sound like this right now because I've been up like almost every day at like 5 to go down to Liberty to be like, one girl and two guys on the radio. It's
and
that one girl, two guys.
That's why you get all the Botox, because you're
Yes.
like, I need to have the face for radio.
Yes, exactly. Although if this gig sticks and I can make it in this, I'm going to save a lot on Botox.
That's
Yeah, because you can't age out of
You
this.
just need the voice.
Yeah,
voice
yeah.
Botox.
Yeah, which I should also work on. Yeah.
Oh, that's crazy.
But thank you so much for
find
having
you.
me.
And what are your socials? Can everyone find you?
Yes, at Jackie Pirico on Instagram.
Perfect.
And there's a lot of crickets on my TikTok, so if you could populate the TikTok as well. I'm not on X anymore. I got off of it once it became X because I'm like,
Ew.
I can't navigate. I don't know. I don't know what it is anymore.
That's
so I'm
fine.
just on Instagram and TikTok.
Perfect.
Yes.
Thank you so much for joining
Thanks
us,
for having
Jackie.
me.
We'll see you next
Love
time.
you. Bye.
Bye.